Hilton brings you new ways to stay, with experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Learn more and get a quote at USAA.com/bundle. Restrictions apply.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
From the Fifth Quarter Studio in Madison, Wisconsin, you're listening to the Coaching Youth Hoops Podcast.
They're playing
Basketball. Here's our hosts, Steve Collins. And Bill Flitter.
All right, welcome to Coaching Youth Hoops.
Coach,
how are you?
doing amazing.
I know. First week of basketball practice for Coach Collins.
Good luck, bud.
I know. Pretty excited.
How's the squad looking this year?
Looking good. Week from Tuesday, it's our first game. No, Tuesday is our first game.
Coach,
Not a
what's
week
this?
From Tuesday.
What's this floating across the screen right now?
My ring?
What do we think? Are we going to get
One of these?
Yeah, but it's only. Can we
get 4? Maybe. Never know.
Before you retire, let's go.
That would be nice. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
We'll do it behind the scenes if we make it there. Anyway, so before we get started on the topic, everyone knows the topic because they've already read the headline and they clicked on it, Coach. So we don't have to tell them the topic.
Okay.
I'm just saying they already know the topic. But we want to give a big shout out to our sponsors. Game Changer, awesome. Used it this fall for my team. It was great. Super easy to use too.
Super easy. That's the thing I love. That it's
free and yeah.
So go check it out at gc.com/coaching youth hoops. If you're interested in stats and how well your team is doing and use those stats for action in your practice, you got to have Game Changer. Go to gc.com/coaching youth hoops. It's what we use for all our youth teams.
And then
/coaching youth hoops.
And then we have what do we have coming up? Black Friday's coming up.
Oh yeah, Black Friday. Hey, we have a bundle for you, Coach. Everything you need for a successful season. 30 plus years of experience packed into a very condensed, mistake-free, right, version of what Steve and I know what works. Practice plan progressions, offenses, defenses, special plays. We took out all the stuff that didn't work and only are giving you the stuff that we know we've had success with. And if you check that out at coachingyouthhoops.com/black-friday. Again, coachingyouthhoops.com/black-friday.
All right.
It's only available. Just remember, it's only available till Black Friday.
I know. We're running out of time.
Unfortunately, if you're
TikTok
listening to this after Black Friday.
TikTok. Yes. If you're listening to this in July and fishing, sorry, too late.
You can go sign up for the next one, though. So there's a form you can fill out there.
There'll be a form. There'll be something on there. All right. So today we're talking about what, Coach?
Decision-making under pressure. So one of the big struggles that I've been hearing from coaches is come game time, everything that they just practice is going out the window. Their plays, their offense, the kids aren't remembering what to do, right? And again, this is a topic that you and I have that same, right? Sometimes you get approached that. I always watch the late night TV shows and they approach people on the street and they say, who's the 47th president of the United States? And you're like, right? You panic.
It's Donald Trump, actually. That's the 47th.
Yeah.
Where's your answer? Okay. Anyway, no, I treat the thing is, I think it's both the players and the coaches.
How so?
Well, I
Or what
think
do you
the
mean?
coaches have to be good under pressure too.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
There's
Yeah,
23
yeah.
seconds left and you're down two,
Yeah.
and do you have the right play and you call a timeout? What are you going to say? And so the best thing you can do for this is put them in those kind of situations. Put yourself in those situations and practice any way
Mhm.
you can, and try to put them in situations that are high stake. Maybe the
Yeah.
high stake is they have to do 2 burpees or something, whatever. But
It's a consequence. They should have a
it's
consequence, just
something,
like in a game, right? That's light.
right?
That's not, you're not punishing them.
It's
It's
not a
just,
punishment. It's just
yeah,
if they're competitive and they don't like to lose, it won't matter what you make them do. I
right.
sometimes, I sometimes, if they lose and we're doing like team stuff, they have to say 3 nice things that are not to their teammate. Like,
Oh, that's great.
isn't
I
that
love
great?
that
So they
idea.
have to look them in the eye, and I go, you can't say
Okay.
they have nice hair, and you can't do something descriptive. You have to say 3 nice things about them as a person. And
Oh, I
for
love that.
boys,
Done.
for
I'm getting
boys,
that.
that's really like
That's hard. Yeah.
that's brutally hard.
Yeah.
So that they'd
Great
rather
idea.
they'd rather run. That's what it
So then it really is. Yeah, you're
it
really
is.
making them, yeah,
Yes, it's
earn
a
that. Yeah, I love
consequence.
it. I love it. Yeah, good consequence. Well, and I think you're right. I used to beat myself up, and we're going to start with the coaching side. I used to beat myself up as a coach when of course, hindsight is always 2020 when you're in a game situation and the pressure's on and you're down, 20 seconds left and you're down a point or two. But in that situation, I used to beat myself up thinking, "Ah, gosh, what do I do, right? Because all of a sudden, as you know, your mind goes blank. And
Right.
so what I did from what I started doing, and I got this from you, which is the game scenario sheet, and just so, okay, this is what my team is going to do when we're faced with a situation. That
Right.
way, my mind won't go blank, right?
Yes.
And what I had when I was coaching high school, and again, this probably came from you, which was they kept on telling me the situation, right?
Right.
And they would read it off. And then sometimes that situation would go away and a new situation would come up, right?
Right.
But I love that because they were just whispering in my ear. Now, for most coaches that are listening to this podcast in grade school, right? Or,
Right.
middle school, etc., they don't have that coach whisperer. So
Right.
what do? Well, plan it out a little bit, like have some, common scenarios written down. I think that will help you as a coach saying this is what we're going to do.
Yeah, and just again, it's preparation, being ready for the test before the test is happening. What are you doing
Yeah.
to yeah. So that's the kicker, is I think you just really got to think about that. What can you do to prepare yourself and the players for that? And free throws is another great example of feeling pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And we do a really basic drill to kind of build this, where it's like they'll play. Sorry, my watch keeps dinging. So sorry, just it's real, and I'm not editing it out. So anyway, um, it's only 24 hours in a day. Anyway, so we do a free throw thing where I'll put like 3 people at the free throw line, and they'll shoot it. And if they make it, they go to the end of the line. And if they miss it, they start jogging around the gym until the next person out of the 3 people misses. So it just
Yeah.
puts a little bit of pressure on them. And I think anything like that where you can be creative and put a little bit of that, oh, I don't want to miss.
Right.
I'm not trying to embarrass them, but they're usually joking with their friends and screaming at anyway. It can all be in fun too. I think those are the kind of things as a coach. It doesn't matter what level you want to put yourself in that situation and your players in that situation.
Yeah. And just also remember the age that you're coaching. Their brain capacity and their cognitive skills, motor skills may not be there, may not be developed yet. So just keep that in the back of the mind, what you're asking them to do and then asking them to do in a pressure situation. Just like, I think about this as, you shoot there's actually a stat, and I'm blanking on the stat. Let's say you shoot, 90% free throw percentage, right, in practice, but it drops, I think, almost in half in a game situation. Maybe not quite half, but get the point.
Right.
It definitely drops. So, you have to expect that your kids are going to lose some of that edge that they have in the game that they, that they're showing in practice, where it's a friendly environment, so to speak. So you have to put them in pressure situations.
Right.
I also think that just how you show them how to do things, break your offense down, your defense down, your plays down into chunks, and reinforce those chunks will also help.
And talk about how you do that, Coach. Talk about what you mean by that.
So if you have an offensive concept, let's say you're running 5-out motion offense, and after you pass, you cut. So all you do is you have one person at the top of the key, the other person at the wing, you pass, and you work on cutting, but cutting the right way, right? So you get down to the granular details, and it's just
right.
Think of, I hate lines, but just think 2 lines, one at the top of the key, one off to your right in a wing position, right? And just passing and cutting, then switch lines. And it's all you're working on. Then you add the third person down in the lower part of the kind of the coffin corner area of the court. So now what does that person do after the cut and the pass happen, right? So then you show them the big picture, and then you break it down into the smaller pieces, and then just build back up from there. So
I love that.
Whatever that concept is that you're trying
part
to
whole
teach.
part or whole part whole. Yes.
Yeah, whole part whole. Yeah, exactly.
I love that.
And that will help them also just remember things. But I think Coach Collins is correct when he was saying you got to put them in pressure situations that have a consequence so they can execute. And okay, Coach, what does that mean? How do you do that? Well, grab out your phone, and I'm sure there's no shot clock in your gym, right? And make an artificial.
Well, and I just yell it. I just yell it down. 10, 9,
yeah, exactly.
8. Just make them, and that's they start freaking out when it gets to 4.
Well, and the other thing we do the same drill every day. It's just it's a warm up drill, ball handling and layups drill, and they have to make. I think my 8th graders, they have to make 55 or 60 layups in 3 minutes, and they're going full court,
right?
Back and forth, full court. And if they miss it, they go to the line. So let's say we hit 55 and they're supposed to hit 60. So they go to the line, and they need to make at least 5 free throws. If they miss it, then there's a consequence, right? So let's say they hit 55 free or layups. They can make that difference up because they were supposed to get 60. You make it up at the line. If they still miss it, then there's the consequence that comes into play, right?
Right.
So they still have the feeling of the pressure layups because they know if they don't hit it, they're going to have to run to make up the difference. So again, if we end at 58 and they had to do 60, that's 2 down and backs that they have to do.
Right. So I mean, I think all those things, again, you can overthink this too, but you definitely want to put them in those situations, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. And then again, what's the situation that you run into most often where your kids are
stressed,
missing the mark?
Right. It's going to be free throws. It's end of a game. It's end of the quarter. It's a last shot. Those kind of things tend to be stressful. Getting pressed, pressure.
Yeah, I was going to say getting pressed or any kind of pressure, right?
Yeah, getting double teamed, that kind of stuff. Right? So put them in those kind of situations. All right. Anything else, Coach?
Coaches, be sure to check out our Black Friday special. Go to coachingyouthhoops.com/Black-Friday.
All right. Until next week.
Till next week.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
If your brain is at full capacity with to-dos, birthdays, and dinner plans, meet Skylight Calendar. It syncs your entire family schedule onto a sleek digital display, so you focus on important things like where you left your coffee. Right now, Skylight is offering our listeners $30 off their 15-inch calendars by going to skylightcal.com/talk. Go to skylightcal.com/talk for $30 off your 15-inch calendar. That's SKYLIGHTCAL.com/talk.